Is this going now?
Yep.
Okay.
Roll it.
All right. This is Dr. Gino Dean of the Universal Telescope Institute. I'm still with King John of the Moai Hapu, as well as the founder of the Moai Powerhouse Group. This is the last of our journey today in Auckland. This is July 26th, 2015. We are located now at the Auckland Cathedral of the Holy Trinity and St. Mary's in Holy Trinity in Auckland in Parnell. And what we're going to do is kind of let you know of a recent press release by the Vatican with the Pope Francis signing the Motu Proprio, updating with what actually has occurred. And King John is, as a scholar who has researched all of this, is actually going to bring you to what's happening presently by sharing what's happened in the past, and then let you know of the impact in the future. So you're fully aware of the convergence of church and state and real estate. Okay. All right. So King John, I'm going to start again because I do this is recorded. So this is Dr. Gino Dean, founder of the Universal Telescope Institute. I'm here with King John on our last four-part series today, July 26, 2015. We've been to various locations throughout Auckland. We are now presently located here in Parnell, a suburb of Auckland, and it is the location where the Auckland Cathedral of the Holy Trinity and St. Mary's in Holy Trinity churches are located. And what King John, being a scholar of this, is going to share with us the latest press release from the Vatican with the Pope Francis signing the Motu Proprio, and to share with you how this is impacting us in the past, present, and future with the merger of the church and state, and how it impacts the title and real estate as well. So it's a lovely afternoon, late afternoon in Auckland. And King John, if you could start with what just in the last week in July, what the notice was, and then we'll go back to the past and connect us. Okay, so we can go for the future.
Okay. Thank you, John Wanoa, Auckland, New Zealand. I'm here to speak for the Hapu natives, straight to England. In this day and age of commerce and church and state, the legal part of the Motu Proprio, it means that they have their administrative body in the Church of England here.
You're talking about the Vatican.
Vatican here, the Catholic Church.
This is St. Mary.
The Catholic Church here has now married into the Church of England, so the Queen and the Pope to join in with the Motu Proprio legal state legislative acts to control the lands with their church title. So we have their obelisk we've seen today and their form of ownership.
The obelisk that we did.
Yeah, the obelisk that stamps their mark to their Britain, Westminster, but it's brought another element of title here from then to now in the Catholic Church being the high authority in preparation for the New World Order, heading off with their intentions publicly notified people just a couple of days ago that they were bringing in the New World Order, and prior to that, in 2013, they demolished the corporation, the business part of the church and state. So, Motu Proprio is a legalese or form of administrative control through Parliament, through the Vatican City Parliament, and also now not the Westminster but the EU Parliament, where the Queen is the head of the Jesuit part of the Catholic Church and also still the Queen of England, but in conflict of us, her partners on the Queen side of the Church and the King side, which the Vatican is using to their right, their legal right to be here. So
if you had said partners, you're talking about the Maori, the native partners
yeah,
with the King,
Yeah.
William.
Yeah.
But could you say, because of this public notice, could you go back how the Lisbon Treaty
okay.
and connect us with the Lisbon Treaty and the signature
Okay.
and actually
So here we start from the Lisbon Treaty. We'll go back a stage from now to 2008. That's when the Queen and Gordon Brown, the Prime Minister then of Westminster, and Britain, UK, signed the Lisbon Treaty to do away with the 7 treaties and put it into the EU Parliament, where she heads
the European Union Parliament.
the European Union Parliament, which the Queen is more the head of, and administering her business with Church of England and Catholic Church from there, and taking the power of the old UK and dismantling it with the Church law. The Church, meaning the Catholic Church, is getting ready to take the world over with doubling up and marrying into the Church of England, through the Protestants and the Catholics joining forces. So those are all in place
And with
from
the Lisbon Treaty
2009.
was 2009.
2009, the Lisbon Treaty was officially, Act was passed in EU Parliament, rendering the sovereignty, the Queen sold their sovereignty to the EU Parliament from Westminster.
When you say sold their sovereignty, you're talking about England,
England, Wales, Ireland, and Scotland. She sold the mortgage documents while there was still Admiralty operating between the two churches before the Pope demolished it. So they set it up to demolish, but not until they had their churches in order to come in with a new law. Got rid of their old law, bring a new law. But from the Lisbon Treaty, that set the seed right through the Catholic membership behind them, 1.4 billion people that the Pope is using to prop them up, plus what he took out of the sovereignty of people through the Admiralty law that he's using of King William IV.
And when you say prop them up, what do you mean? Are you referring to
finance them, their
them.
church organisation?
The church organization,
Yes.
the Anglican Protestant.
The Anglican Church is still under Westminster, but she's more or less taken HM Treasury funds from the Queen Victoria Trust and deposited somewhere else other than England. So I've been told by good sources there that it's gone, and it's
The Victoria Trust.
the Victoria Trust, which is our trust here, the natives and the king, King's Bench in the court. So they're using their own court in the Catholic Church from the 23rd, and not so much the district court, which will have to get their authority from the Vatican after the 23rd. All courts, all district courts, Supreme Courts, and everything get their authority to rule under the Catholic Church. The Church of England will be subject to that because the Queen has sold that to them.
And could you, I know you're pointing right and left. Could you, for the people that are viewing
Okay.
this, we're not seeing the entire
Yeah.
church here. Behind you,
Behind me is the Catholic Church. They shifted from the other side of the road.
St. Mary.
Yes, St. Mary's Church. It was on the other side of the road, and they got buildings, apartments built there on their real estate land, and they put that church beside this.
They put St. Mary's Church.
St. Mary's Church.
St. Mary's
carried
was located across the road
onto this side,
and moved it. What year would you say?
That would be about 3-4 years ago. I can't exactly say which year.
So maybe
but just
2012,
recently.
2013?
Yeah, 2012. But shifted it. It was a big job to shift it, but nevertheless, they put it closer to the church, the England church here on this side. And this is the biggest church in Auckland.
This is the biggest church.
Yeah, in Auckland.
And it is the Auckland Cathedral of the Holy Trinity, the Anglican.
Yes, the Anglican church. So now there was good reason to shift that church next to this one because they've designed have designed some sort of reason to make them come together. The Queen signed the Protestant church with the Catholic church, with the Pope, when they had their talks 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. And so that joined forces to make them bigger, the two churches. The state part of the Motu Proprio is taken out from legislative. And it's open the way for any law to come in. Any law to come in.
Oh,
yeah,
yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, but I'm just giving you a history of my perception of the two churches.
Right. So, see, there's got to be significance of the relocation of St. Mary's Church. It wasn't just for real estate development. It's probably the same timing of right after the Lisbon Treaty.
Yeah, yes.
So
yes.
It's showing at the very beginning, as Pope Francis is talking not only a new world order, but he's talking about one religion. So this is probably the beginning of the merger of the religion.
That's what they're married for convenience to join forces to control their business from here.
From here is
the Queen's business here.
Here in New Zealand.
This is where her business here with the rock
Not the church, but you're talking about Auckland, New Zealand.
Yeah. Their main core business is here in New Zealand for the Queen and her Maori people. The natives that she has let down, but nevertheless, that's the way they evolved with these two churches being all the way through from the 1840 period or 1835 period. It's changed in only as much as 180 years. This has happened. And so, because of evolution, we have to try and re-establish our cultural heritage because it's whittled away, as you saw on the Hill, that whittled away, but we're putting it back because there was nothing else left but to salvage Westminster, Britain, UK, and the whole world from what they're doing to us. From a native point of view, it is something that hasn't been taught before because we've been documented it all the way from 2008 right through from before, during, and after the event. It's all documented what the changes were of the Pope's intention from the Lisbon Treaty till now. I've documented all of that with the chiefs to go to Westminster, and I'm not there to fix it with their consent. They passed away now, so it's left me on my own, rather, waiting for people to come and see what's going on before that date of the Pope rule over.
Okay. You say before that date of the rule order, you talk about a lot of people are September 23rd of 2015, when Pope Francis is actually coming to the United States there for Congress. The timeline of this, and that's when you're suspecting Nestle Hill announced the New World Order. And there was the public press release this last week in July 2015. It has been given out to the public, even though it was signed in 2013. But what you're saying, if you're going to London, dealing with the King William's entitled, that's been filed prior. All these your case has been filed prior to this, so
Yes.
you could possibly circumvent.
Yes. All what has happened here is this: for this church to have been built, and that one to have been moved.
This is St. Mary's
Yeah.
Catholic.
And they had to have an authority, a prior authority, to do any business in a foreign land, and that wasn't possible with anybody that didn't have the admiralty law that the king put through together in Westminster. So the Queen has demolished a lot of the legal status inside Westminster and deposited in the EU Parliament and made them vulnerable in the Parliament that Scotland is going to take off now, and their church links are split, divided, and so I'm just a bit concerned that before the 23rd, not taking any chances.
You saw it 23rd of
September 2050. I'm not taking any chances, but to get to England and raise our King William flag of Admiralty, which will remain as the lien mortgage over these mortgages that the Pope is going to write out on the 23rd. When he brings in his order, we will still maintain our King's order where he got his order from. And that's what I'm saying, that those instruments were not possible without a king or a vow. So I'm saying the Pope would not be here with his church and congregation members without a king getting his permission to get here all around the world, America. So I'm going back
to King William.
King William IV, because we still got a contract. They're working contracts at the moment while he hasn't signed it all. They still derive all their money. The biggest bank in the world is the Catholic Church, bigger than the World Bank. And so they are controlling by that means of instruments, legal instruments, put together by the king of a higher commercial
put
trading.
Together by King William.
King William IV's authority.
And that was dated back.
That's 1830 to 1837 when those acts were put together. We are applying those acts, and they cannot come into our contract with the king. The Maoris here have got a contract with the Queen on this side, and we have still the same Maoris still got a contract with the king on this side. So they're in two throws between some in that church and some in that church.
And you're recognizing as a Moai, the king.
The Moai is a memorial stone set in the ground, as much as King William's memorial is in certain places in the world, and in Devonport, England to Devonport, New Zealand. So that's his commercial estate that we have a legal right to his inheritance of what he's put together for us to trade around the world free passage with a flag that he gave us to allow us to run our own selves in our own parliament that the Vatican runs and the Queen runs from EU Parliament. Parliament here on this church, Parliament here on this church. Different set of rules from our own native. We can talk for us, they can talk for them. All I'm saying is the land still is us, the native. They are occupying the land under the King's permission to come here and to go everywhere in the world where the flag went with the Queen. Took our flag and took it around the world. So wherever she went and mischief with it, it's not our problem. The trust is our problem of where it's all the beneficiaries, the revenue that we're supposed to get out of it as the still beneficiaries of the state. When they take the state part out of it, the beneficiaries are left without a state. And so that's why the Motu Proprio is a state government that's going to take the state away from the beneficiaries, which is our natives around the world. It'll affect everybody with a stamp with Queen's head on it, and the judge with the head of the Queen on top of it, and the police with the judge with the badge of the monarch Queen. So the monarch Queen is operating with private businesses. The Pope has his private businesses using corporations, that he's getting rid of corporations, which equals businesses. And so he takes the corporate out of it, and he's clean.
Okay. So when you're saying taking the corporate, you're saying you're referencing through that multipolarity that he's dissolving all existing corporations, and it's not just natives; it's everyone in
the
world.
He designed it. The Pope before the Pope before the Pope. Pope John, Pope Benedict, Pope. They designed this legal state government to go around the world on someone's ship to manifest that and shift it from there to there. The church does not have commercial title of their own and native or instrument of title. They borrowed it from the king.
And that was under the Admiralty Law.
Yes, the Admiralty Law, mortgage there.
And King William's flag.
Created it. He is the creator of the acts.
You're talking about King William.
Yes, King William IV created the only mortgage lien act in the world that was commercially accepted in the Commonwealth, in the federal states, and in the state governments, in the local state councils. Okay, so his acts were altered to suit all of what the British were done. So the British are accountable to us as breaking off the partnership.
And when you say us, you're talking about
the natives of New Zealand, not anywhere else. The natives of New Zealand and the Pacific Islands. On the flag that King William gave us, 4 stars in the corner, 4 corners of the earth, north, east, south, west, and the 8 points, 1 for Queen Victoria, 7 for the Waka or islands. And that's what makes up the Red Cross being King George. King George 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and King William the Fourth, the brother of King George the Fourth, and the brother of Ernest August the First, and their father King George the Third. They Queen's private company, Washington D.C. That's how America was taken over and owned by the Queen, and every other country that she put her name on.
So that
church.
Right. So the Admiralty Law with King William's flag that the church
utilized because King William loved popes, and he was a Catholic. Okay, he was a Catholic, but he didn't think this was going to happen to his common people. And the common law court is a king's court. That's what it is. And the royal courts of justice. The royal court of justice is the king's bench side of the court, and the queen's bench, king's bench in the court. So any problems go into the courts for any land issues that these churches are stuck on. They're only paper titles that they use as instruments to form the basis of money and banks. You'll see changing. You'll see changing because of the church influence over their flock. I don't know how much membership in the Church of England. I guess it matches the 1.4 billion of the Catholic Church.
We can verify that.
Yeah, we can verify.
So the urgency of you going to London, not only to raise the King William flag at King William's Devonport estate, as well as at the Royal Court, and present the titles the original title, is paramount because what you're trying to do is beat the clock before September 23rd.
That's right. That's right.
When Pope Francis arrives in the United States, meets President Obama and addresses Congress.
Yes.
So that's when it's going to be, even though it's been the Motu Proprio has been signed in 2013.
It's a done deal.
Just a recent press release, so people are reading it. We will provide links with this video so people can reference it. But what has just occurred with Queen Elizabeth giving over her rights not only to England but to Scotland and could you name those other countries?
Okay.
Scotland?
The Britain, UK is made up of England, Wales, Ireland, and Scotland. She made agreement with the EU Parliament to sell their sovereignty as instruments of mortgage, and that's one mortgage.
And that was at the Lisbon Treaty.
Yeah, the Lisbon Treaty. Yeah, and she also mortgaged a new company called Queen Elizabeth II to the Pope. So the Pope put a mortgage over England two times. One to the EU Parliament and one to the Vatican. So they're double debt instrument before they dissolve the whole lot.
And what comprises of the Queen Elizabeth Corporation?
Oh, they're private companies. They're private companies. Corporations are fictitious capital letter names or in-person names that are not a real person. And so she is called Elizabeth R. or Washington D.C. That's her private company. No one can come in as a third party to interfere between her and her flock or her and her natives. Okay, so she's cleverly used that instrument to protect her own assets that she pulled out.
Her the Lisbon Treaty as an instrument. So can you name those three corporations one more time?
The three corporations are Washington D.C., the main ones, owned by the Queen, and the City of London, owned by Rothschild. Evelyn Rothschild is the older one. That he's not the actual person that's running it, but he's the mouthpiece, chairman or whatever. And the other one is
Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth II. That's another one. But the third one is Vatican City, the Pope, right? Pope, Queen, Rothschild. The three conglomerates between the two churches. You understand? Why did they build that church there? It's because they married each other into a bigger conglomerate.
They relocated. They married church across the street.
Yeah, carried it across.
Brought it here.
Put it and placed it right beside this church. The Queen here to my right, the Queen and the Pope to the left. Okay, so it's big. You see the length of it. It goes right down there to the street. I'm just to give you an idea of the size of it. And you can point to this end and that end and get a good view of just how big it is. And it fits a lot of people. I'd say it's take about over 1,000 people, 2,000 people. Big crowds here, pull the whole place out. But I'm just saying you can put your camera down the other way and see how long it is as compared to this Catholic church. But I just tell you, they're into real estate. So into real estate as business, always been. Our church went around the world for business, not to save people, but to do business. And that's the part I'm interested in. I'd say, what sort of business? Was it something that was there for the poor people? No. It was for their own private use as eating people, for looking after their own interests, their own financial interests with their own government.
Okay, but I'm trying to get you to make sense. If the Queens form these corporations, sign them over, relinquish them to the Lisbon Treaty, put them under the Pope, correct? Now, the Pope has just signed this Motu Proprio, which is dissolving corporations.
Yeah.
So try and make sense what and how this connects to the New World Order.
Okay, so
And this is multinational corporations, it's
Yeah.
any corporation in the world.
yeah, so the corporations that sold to the EU Parliament, it's not a company as such, it's a fictitious corporation company that they can buy and sell and get rid of because they have control to switch them on and off. And so they have one last go at fleecing the lot before dissolving them. What did you want to ask?
Dissolving, fleecing the people.
Yeah, fleecing the people by putting in more debt. The debt structure, and not credit structure. They leave the credit for the bankers, but they go along the line of corporations. So they are affected by the same title, the land, conveyancing, and so forth.
So with this dissolving of all corporations that has just, been publicly through a press release last week, July 2015, even though it was signed 2013, you're indicating that they're not going to be liable. Liable.
Okay, so today there was a photo of the Pope and Obama.
President Obama.
In Obama today. So I'm watching right up to date with what's happening with their movements, the behaviour of the next move. I've watched every move on what they're planning to do because they make it public. They don't hide nothing. They say we're going to do this and they do it. So it's a done deal. It's too late for anybody to inquire into something private anyway. But what were you asking? What was it?
Well, with this dissolving, the liability.
Oh, okay. The liability is this: that any public servant at the present time, while there is a no man's land between now and the 23rd, so any public servant, police, or someone who has done wrong, and someone can actually put the liability straight on them in a court, and they got to pay for it. That person that's been sued or challenged has to pay for it.
So you're talking about
the liability.
Liability, like a police officer, a court judge.
Yeah, court judge.
You're talking about any government.
Yeah. So the part of the Motu Proprio in the legal state government was to stop fraud and corruption, and this was the way the Pope is doing it. He's going to take the power away of corporations doing what they want illegally. So he's going to show up a lot of poor people. So he's crossing himself out as being the first culprit that we've got a pound note over, 970 million pound note.
Can you say that figure one more time?
Okay, I'm saying we have already.
Who's we?
We is the Moai Powerhouse Group and the King William, the Moai King William the Fourth Trust. We set up a trust to bill debtor, levy, the offender before they changed the law. That was in 2008-2009 when we first started investigating. Okay, right up to this point, it's too late for them to try and inquire into our private deal with the people. And they cannot come into Westminster and go between us because it's legislated and Statute Acts in Westminster Parliament extant, that means forevermore, and only us can go there. Many have gone there, Maoris have gone there to try and fix it. And they've said, wrong man, wrong title, wrong everything. Because they had one element of a title missing, especially real estate and conveyancing. That's a banker's biggest secret, is the conveyancing of a land transfer of mortgage to lien over the land to put them in debt. So that is now exposed, so the Pope wants to destroy it so that it'll appear to the public that he's doing a good thing. I was asked today up the top of the hill, oh, but he's doing a good thing. I said, he's just come out of Argentina where he was responsible for some of the atrocities there, and then all of a sudden he's the Pope. He bowed down to the bishop to confess his sins. That was in front of the whole world. he confessed his sins. He's going around doing unusual things as a Pope in a Catholic church, confessing on behalf of all the Catholics. So he's going to resign soon after he's done his little dash. But it's still there. The problem will still carry on because they haven't addressed where they get their authority from. How do they get from A to B? How do they pick this up? Where do they get the money from? Whose money? And it all adds up to those three corporations. The biggest three corporations in the world are core corporations owned by these three entities.
Yeah, and this is what's misleading for a lot of people. They don't understand government entities and corporations.
Yeah. So the difference is a private corporation and a public domain corporation. They call it private corporation, but it's actually a private company. They've worded it and used letters to define what's with brackets like that around the word, or nothing, or Elizabeth R. is a private company. Okay, when you see something with Elizabeth R on it, it's her own private company. Yeah, all the way through. And King William got his thing.
So are you saying with the...
Oh, it's stopped.
That might have been out. Yeah, the battery was flashing.
Oh, the battery is flashing. So that one's still going. Yeah.
Okay.
Still going
so we'll continue that, and we'll wrap it up. But so what you're... Please delineate with this Motu Proprio. When he dissolved it, did he dissolve both public corporations and private, or just?
No, just public? His own. Just the Vatican's law, legal, not Westminster. Okay, that he only did his own Vatican, which overruled Westminster.
Well, how does this play out for the common people who have corporations or incorporations? Limited liability. Is that playing out at that level?
That's affected. Everything is affected because they have the civil law and the canon law, the UCC, all those laws that make up the law.
UCC is Universal Commercial Code.
Yeah. So they control everything with title.
So this is going to trickle down to people that are entrepreneurs. They want to start their own business. They form the limited liability company or LTD or S corporation. Yeah. All that is being dissolved.
All corporations are dissolved. They're already dissolved. It's phasing in. It's phasing in over time. That they apply it. If someone moans, then they're liable. Okay. Well, that's happening. But there's only a window of space from now to the 23rd to do something.
The 23rd of September.
Yeah, 23rd to do something.
So we're the 26th of July recording this.
Yeah.
So we have very limited time. We got August 26th and July. So we'll pretty much have 2 months.
Just August, really.
Just August, and to get you to England.
That's right.
To be able to do this. So this will, hopefully with you circumventing this whole plan, this will benefit everyone in the world. In the world,
yes, because it's all done. I've set it all up on it. You'll have to unjumble it and put it in order because it's pick up and drop and go documents, but they're there and it's been around for a long time, so it's been flashing past people. But then, if it's put in order, that's when it bites. Okay, so since our batteries are running out, we've been going here, there, everywhere on this day, July 26th. What we will be doing is putting a lot of the archives and links to documents that King John, in his scholarly research, has provided over these years that he's been charged. 20 years. Yep. So it'll help everyone make sense, but we just want to alert people how this merger of the Catholic Church with the Anglican Church of England, Protestants, how this is showing the beginning of the one world religion and the new world order. Okay. We've got a battery if you want to go carry on with the camera. No, I think I think it's time we'll end that. Okay. So this is Dr. Gino Dean from the Universal Telestatistics Institute, researching and documenting King John's
scholarly research. And King John, we'd like to say goodbye for today, and we'll be giving you more information tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.